Happy 63rd birthday. You don't look a day over 62. Happy birthday. Thank you. Yes.
Patrick Curie?
No, oh my God, you're like my wife. I'm a guy. I'm sorry, I brought the guy up.
No, I looked on IMDb. He's the first Patrick I came to. So we're out here signing. He has a sign. I don't know what that means. I don't have his glasses.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Signing Away Hunger is a not-for-profit that I started with a great deal of help from John and Bonnie back in March. We collect autographs and auction them off, sell them off. And 100% of the money we collect goes to support the food pantry at Arsenal Technical High School, which is a local inner-city high school here in Indianapolis. We find that way too many of our kids, the only time they get to eat is when they're at school. We provide breakfast and lunch to every kid, but when they go home, there's often not food. So we have a food pantry, and our goal is to raise as much money as we can so that kids can take home food, not only for themselves, but their parents, their siblings, and anybody else who lives with them. $10, you get to spin the wheel, and you're guaranteed an autograph. And as long as I have cupcakes, you get a birthday cupcake. Or if you're really anxious about the fact that, man, I don't know if I want this autograph, you can bribe me, and for 20 bucks, you can pick whatever you want on the table. So, anyhow, Signing Away Hunger, right outside this door. You guys really want to hear from John and Bonnie because they're the cool people. But thank you so much, John. Thank you, Bonnie.
Yes, Greg. Okay, I'm back here.
Yes.
So a question about Porthos, the various dogs.
Yes.
How were they to work with, and did they have like a handler or an animal trainer?
They were bastards. They were very sweet. It was two girl puppies. I can't remember their names. Of course, now they're long dead, so don't get too sentimental about them. Yeah, it was a long time ago. They were big farters. I will say that. And none of them ever learned their lines, as far as I can tell. At least there's no recorded line of dialogue.
Did you know there was also a bionic Porthos? Does anyone remember this? Because from my episode of Enterprise was the one where the Borg came back, and they actually made a little tiny Borgified Porthos, and they have pictures of it walking down the plane.
I didn't know that.
Well, you were laughing at me getting killed that day.
Bonnie, as a Borg, she was killed. So I had to show up on the set that day and sit in a chair, and then she would get phased and she'd fly through the air, and I'd say, "Do it again, I don't think we got it!"
He did, he was back by the monitors. I'd hear gales of laughter because I was squib, and they'd have to go backwards, and I'd hear, oh, and then they'd make me do it just like that. They make me do it again. By the way, I've died quite a few times.
Is that your imitation of my laugh? I like that. It's big.
I don't know how you laugh. I don't listen to you. When you
the secret of a happy marriage, ladies and gentlemen. Does anybody want any marital advice before we leave? We've only got a couple more minutes. Anybody have a deep probe? Yes, all the way in the back. Yes. Yeah, but she had marital advice. And is that your husband next to you? Is that a boyfriend? No. Oh, okay. Well, right off the bat, there's a problem in your marriage. I don't know who that guy is.
It may be a bonus to the marriage. Just saying. Go for the marriage, but...
Speak up, Bonnie. We can't hear you on the stage.
Oh, your husband, but you have one.
Yes, and he didn't want to come to the con.
Oh.
What, Bonnie? I don't know what the problem is.
What problem?
I don't know. What is it?
She just went here.
He didn't want to come to the con.
Oh.
She brought someone she doesn't even know who's sitting next to her.
Brought a total stranger instead.
Interesting. She picked him up on the side of the road.
My husband won't go to the con, so I picked up a stranger on the side of the road.
She offered him freedoms.
This sounds more like your husband's problem to me. In which case, he should come to the convention and he could ask for the free advice.
No.
You're doing fine.
Yes, my advice to you, my marriage advice, is just tell him that John and Bonnie says he should come to the next con with you. Boom, problem done.
Problem solved. We have room. We have time for one more question. But before that, I would like also to say thank you all. You've been wonderful.
Yes.
Indianapolis has been wonderful. I can't speak for the entire city, but the part of it I saw inside the hotel.
He went on and on about the inside of the hotel.
Yeah. Lisa Meese has been particularly wonderful. Lisa called me with a question about a guest who could not come, and it took me all of 5 seconds to say, I'll come. So, yeah. because I've been here before and I had such a good time. So thank you all. Thank you for your hospitality.
You guys are wonderful.
And there was one more question. I believe it was from you, sir.
You were on a podcast a few years ago talking about how difficult it is for actors in dealing with auditioning for parts in Los Angeles, all the dynamics between driving to them and things of that sort. How has that changed now that Los Angeles is now the absolute center of movie and TV production? Now we're seeing more developing in Atlanta, in Canada, and other parts that are a bit more accessible.
If you're an LA-based actor, it's actually pretty tricky now because you're really going to have to work more and more out of town, which, as you get older, and if you love your wife, as I do...
And you have a 22.5-year-old cat.
You begin to kind of say, no, I don't want to go to Atlanta, no, I don't want to go to Toronto, no, I don't want to go to New Orleans, especially if I'm going to be a series regular or a recurring. So it is one of a number of reasons that I've kind of narrowed my career down. I don't work as much. I frankly spend more time doing charitable stuff and volunteer stuff. And it is a tricky thing. It is a tricky thing. A lot of states compete to give tax credits to productions. I totally get it, although I don't think the tax credits tend to work to the advantage of the states. But it has created this sprawl in the work, and it does make it harder for LA-centric actors. I wish the last question had been a question that would allow me to take my pants off for you, but it wasn't, so there you go. Thank you.
Delightful, John and Bonnie, and my only, and it is exactly true, when we found out that Denise Crosby couldn't come, I called him for some advice, and he said, well, I happen to be free. Which was not why I called, but I can't say it wasn't somewhere in the back of my head, because that wouldn't be honest to say. It never occurred to me that you might say that.
That's actually kind of how he asked me out, too. I happen to be free.
She was going out with Denise Crosby, and then I said, hell with her.
And the only thing that is not exactly perfect about how this worked out is now I can't have them come next year, too. Oh, but they've been delightful here on our stage this year. So, if you'd like to have a...
We're leaving, I know.
You're good. That's
They've
fine.
got another act, Bonnie.
So, if you would like to have a professional photo op done with them, or you would like to have their signature, you can go to the vendor room. They'll be doing that for about the next 90 minutes.
Or if you've got a couple hours, we can do some kind of a pastel portrait.
I was just putting it down for a second.
All right. Lisa, don't screw around with Lisa Meese!
I mean, that's the rule, right? Isn't it, guys? You guys know me. All right.
Where's my dog?
He's here.
Look at all the shit I'm carrying.
You have to hand it off to him before he can carry it for you.
All right, we're leaving now.
Details. All right. So. Bye-bye. So, this might be a hard act to follow, but I think we